This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hi! I wanted to jump on the mic again and let you know that Kiryu, our dog, is wishing you a great day, and you will hear him during the recording. Hello, my friend. How are you? I'm Isabel Melgarejo, your host, and this is A Time to Care the Caregivers podcast. If you listened to me last week, you probably heard that I completely disconnected for 2 weeks. Today, I want to talk about that. What really means to disconnect. Let's get started. Yes, I took 16 or 17 days of complete disconnection, and I want to talk about that because I've been dealing with burnout, which is not fun because I'm tired all the time, I'm stressed all the time, I'm not getting the results that I want. I made the bold decision to pay attention for 17 days to anything related to work. And I'm recording this, I can see my email, and I have hundreds of emails that I have to go through. And you know what? I don't even care. What does it mean, and why did I decide to disconnect completely for almost 3 weeks? And the truth is that we all need to disconnect from our daily activities. I went on a trip to Alaska with my husband and my mom. And during this time, I decided that I was not going to care about anything besides my trip. I was only going to pay attention to the trip. Whatever happened with work-related stuff, then I would just forget about that. I think because I haven't even started going through my email, but I think there are important matters that I have to take care of. The truth is that deciding and making this decision is very bold, took a lot of courage. It's hard, but you know what? The results are great. The reason I want to talk about this is because for all of my life, I've been a control freak. I like having control over things. I like knowing what's happening. I know having control over my life. And yes, I like having control over other people's lives. I like having everything done the way I want it to be. And several years ago, this was like, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, I was in a relationship with someone. A lot of our problems in that relationship were because I wanted to have control over absolutely everything. I wanted to know when things were going to happen, how I would have everything planned months in advance. I would know by September all my activities until the end of the year. And that was my life. Having control over absolutely everything just led me to be burnout. Back then, I started working with my therapist about control, like just knowing that I can have control over some things and that having control over those things is good, but having control over everything is not good. The reason why I'm talking about this is because many times as caregivers, we want to have control over absolutely everything. And the truth is that there are so many moving parts that it is impossible to have control over absolutely everything. We don't have control over diseases. We don't have control over someone else's decisions. We don't have control over the people that support us. We don't have control over anything. Well, we do have some control over some things, but the majority of the things that happen in our lives as caregivers are not under our control. And the best that we can achieve is to have control over the things that we can control and let the rest of the things go. For me, having this exercise of disconnecting and trusting completely on my team was a huge leap of trust and faith in that everything was going to be all right. That I could trust in the people that work with me, and I could trust in all of the people that support me was a huge leap of faith. And disconnecting completely was so relieving. And I didn't disconnect without having any, just disconnecting, because that only creates more stress. When you really want to disconnect, it's not just disconnecting, because if you just disconnect, something is going to happen, and then you're going to be more stressed because the time that you had planned for rest and disconnection will be attacked and will be interrupted by things that are happening. I often talk about planning, and I think disconnecting needs to be planned, especially when you're doing it for a long period of time. It is crucial for you that you plan this time, and it is crucial that you do it. Disconnecting brings a lot of peace, and I have just experienced it. For 2 weeks, I've been able to sleep nonstop. I've been able to rest every single night and wake up refreshed, energized, and ready to go on. For more than a year, I've been struggling with being able to sleep for a full night without waking up with nightmares and being stressed about life. So the fact that I have been able to rest for 2 weeks, for me, is a great achievement. And I was able to achieve these because I planned it, because I trusted people, and because I designed this time to be completely off and completely off radar from everybody else. And I decided that I was going to trust people in that they were going to do the right thing. I decided to trust myself and let go of things, which was hard. It was so hard deciding not to have control. But let me tell you something. When you plan to leave and you build the systems to support you, then you're able to achieve it. I'm going to share what I did to really disconnect. The first thing I did was to make a list of activities that needed to be done. Especially when you're a full-time caregiver, you have those activities, but sometimes you really are not aware of everything you do on a daily basis. If you work, it's the same thing. We do so many things and we're responsible for so many things that we're really not aware of everything. Although we are aware and we know it, we need to make an effort of making a list of the things that we do. When you make this list of things that you do on a daily basis, it is a great exercise because then you can start delegating things. This can be applied to your caregiving journey. It can be applied to work. It can be applied at home. It can be applied to absolutely everything you do. When you know exactly what you do, you can start delegating things, and you can start delegating things to the right people. You are not going to be able to delegate the laundry to your boss. That doesn't, well, you can. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you get my point, right? You can start assigning responsibilities to other people. Another thing that it was really helpful for me during this time of disconnection, besides delegating absolutely everything I did, on a daily basis and knowing what it was and finding the right people to do it was to create a system in which I could just do that. And building those systems is crucial because that will give you the support that you need over the long run. So today I was able to disconnect for 2 weeks, which means that I can do this again and again and again because I have already created the systems to disconnect when I need to. I can trust the people that they will do the work that they are supposed to be doing. I can trust my siblings to do what they are supposed to do. I can trust my colleagues in doing and covering for me. I can trust absolutely everybody. So this is crucial in terms of creating the systems and the teams. I refer teams, and you will often hear me talking about teams of people, and that is the support, the support that you have. All these people that promote and provide a service or do something to provide care for you or for your loved one. Creating these systems is a great way. And then it's just preparing, which I think it's where most people fail. Because when you're really disconnecting from your life and when you're really plugging everything off and you're deciding to just be off the grid for whatever period of time, you sort of just drop everything, and then someone at some point is going to call you because there's something that wasn't solved ahead of time. And I see this happening with caregivers all of the time, especially with the main caregivers. So if you're a main caregiver, you're running all of these activities and not thinking about what could go wrong. And that is our nature. We don't like thinking about the things that can go wrong. We like thinking that everything is going to be and to go the right way. But if we don't think about the things that can go wrong and prepare people with the right connections and with the right things to do, when things happen, they will call. And for the most part, things don't go the worst case scenario that we can think. They also don't go the smoothest and without any bumps in the road. There's always a mix of things that happen in life. So when we prepare for absolutely everything that could happen, and we think about all of the scenarios that could happen, and we delegate and we let everybody know that we're going to be disconnected and what to do with whatever scenario they can encounter, when they do, they will know what to do. Here's something important that I want to say, because even when we share all of this knowledge, part of letting it go is knowing that the people that are supporting us are not going to do things exactly the way that we would do them. And that's okay. We have to accept that things are not going to be done exactly the way that we want those things to be done. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when we are, especially the main caregiver, we are expecting everybody to do exactly the things exactly as we would do them. And that's not going to happen because our brains work differently, all of them. There is no one brain that works exactly the same as other, and the ideas that we have on how to solve problems are always different. For me, I could solve a problem in one way, and I know that all of my siblings are going to respond and make different decisions, even though when I have provided the systems on how to act and how to solve problems. It's just up to them, and it is up to you to trust them. This is how I managed to disconnect completely. I created systems. I shared them with the people that were providing support during this time. And I completely trusted all of them to do what they were supposed to do. And right now, I know that I have to read hundreds of emails. I know that I have to go through tons of information and have to solve many things that were not solved during this period of time. But I also know that I have super positive energy. I also know that I can do this anytime in my life. And I am so energized with so much positive energy that I can't wait to do and to tackle everything that's on my way. I'm really excited about doing all of these things now, and it doesn't feel like a huge burden for me anymore. All of it was because I was able to completely disconnect. So what are you doing to disconnect? How are you creating those systems, and how are you creating that support system that will provide you and your loved one the care and support that you need? If you don't know exactly how to create these systems and these support groups, I am the right person for you. And I know that I am because I just did it. I was completely successful. During 17 days, nobody called me for anything. Right now, I'm ready to tackle. I went through a very tough part of not knowing what to do, of being overwhelmed and burnout, and now I'm completely relaxed. So if you want to be completely relaxed, give me a call, schedule some time with me, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. Thank you so much for your time, and hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Talk to you next week.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.